Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Mafia Means Family podcast. I am Mafia Mom.
I am Mini Mafia. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing content.
All right, so back for another Thursday. We were able to make it this week, thankfully. How's your week been, Minnie?
My week has been great.
Yeah, well, what's going on with you? What's new?
Well, not much. Really not much.
Really not much?
Although I did get a pick in our gym football a couple days ago.
Yeah, that's cool. And how's football going for you? Still liking it, working hard?
Yeah.
Good. All right, so unfortunately, we have to get to the first part of this, which is last week's recap. How about that game versus the Ravens? Yeah, that's about my response. It's been a long time, NFL record-setting long time since the Bills lost like that, and they were never in that game. Like, first offensive possession, all right, and then the first offensive play for the Ravens, and Henry goes 85 yards.
87.
I mean, it was over before it started, and then. Of all things, we're finally getting some momentum back. Things are finally swinging our way. We're moving the ball. For the record, I thought James Cook actually ran the ball very, very well, and they went away from him partly because we were down so much. But we're finally getting some momentum, and Joe Brady decides now is when we should do a trick play. Not at the first half when you were struggling to get drives to get going and get drives to start, but let's do it now when we have momentum on our side, and that flipped the whole game. What did you think of that trick play call?
Honestly, I hated it because you have who was it?
Not Coleman. Curtis Samuel. Yeah.
You had Curtis Samuel pitch it to Josh, but our O-line couldn't hold up, so Josh couldn't go the opposite way with it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole blocking, like, Josh was on, like, there wasn't really supposed to be O-line in front of him, I don't think, but Josh was on the other side, so it was a disaster. It really was. And I think
it almost got Josh hurt.
It did. He was definitely feeling that shot afterwards, for sure. It hurt his back.
And then, I don't get why we would do it then, because, there was no point. We had, everybody was playing finally just together.
Right. We were starting to move down the field, getting a rhythm, exactly.
You pull out that.
And Joe Brady said after the game, he said it was just flat out a bad call. And look, it's the kind of call, it gets so easy to second guess after it happens. If it works, he looks like a genius. If it doesn't, it looks like an idiot. But it was just the timing of it. Like, if he ran that play in the first half and it had the exact same result, I would have no issue with it. Because the first half, we needed a spark. We needed something to get moving. But you ran it when you finally did have that rhythm. And it just, the rhythm is a good thing to point out because it just made no sense to me to do it there. But let's move past the
humiliating loss.
Let's move on here with the recap. So last week, we're just going to say we got it all wrong. We got hot takes wrong, score predictions, Josh Statline, all wrong. Just out the window. Horrible game. Oh, we are still going to pick players of the game for last week. You want to go first or second, Minnie?
I'll go second.
Second? Okay. So my offensive player of the game is going to be Coleman, and he didn't put up gaudy numbers. I think he had 51 yards receiving, 3 catches. But what I was impressed with was when Josh dropped that absolutely beautiful pass right where it had to be. I mean, he couldn't have handed it to him better, and Coleman dropped it. That is the kind of play that a rookie lets him take him out of it. A rookie lets that play take him out of the game, and he didn't. He came back. He caught 2 back shoulder passes from Josh. I thought he really bounced back nice for that. And I think that says a lot about Coleman's toughness and his mental toughness. And I think you can start to see that real chemistry with Josh developing, because those kinds of throws were things he wasn't throwing even with Diggs up until 2-3 years into their building together. So I think it's a really good sign for the Bills' future, and I think it's a great sign for Coleman as a football player that he was able to shake off that drop, because that was a big drop, and just come back and make a play. Who is your offensive player of the game?
My offensive player is Shakir.
Okay. Why Shakir?
Shakir was our again, leading receiver, even though he got injured and then still fought through it and still had 4 catches for 62 yards.
That's a great point. I
I
definitely
like to
agree.
point out something.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Beasley fighting through the injury towards the playoffs
Yeah,
and him still not going off, but still making a difference.
yeah, yeah. Shakir showed a lot of toughness out there. I agree with you there. He was definitely hurting, and I know the next day he was feeling it. We need him moving forward, but he showed his toughness for sure. So great job by Shakir too.
Mhm.
Defensive. You want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Okay. Who's your defensive player of the game?
My defensive player is Dorian Williams.
Very good choice. What did you like about Williams in the last game?
He only had like 1 missed angle, I think. Like,
So you thought he was in position?
he was in position a lot. He was making the right reads, stepping up or dropping back. And he had like 5 some tackles.
He had five solo and 7 assists. Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
it
Especially
is.
for a second year.
Yeah, and he was our lead tackler. I think he's really coming into his own. If he continues to progress like this, I think it's going to be tough to not play 3 linebackers when Milano and Bernard are finally healthy.
It
Because
could, like, I don't think he's ever going to be as good as Milano is, but he's going to be around there in like 3 or 4 years.
he could be. He
He's
definitely
going to
could
be like a dominant linebacker, like a Fred Warner.
I'd love to see that. I think Warner's probably like overall a top linebacker in the league, like top 3. So that would be amazing. Yeah, I like Dorian Williams. I think he's really developing. He started. You could tell the game started to slow down for him, and that's really important, especially for a guy who plays such a pivotal role in our defense. For him to be able to see things a little slower and react, it's really good to see. So I agree with you. I think that's a great choice. My defensive player of the game, and it was really hard to pick a defensive player of the game, especially if you took Williams out, because I think he was one of the only defenders who looked good. I will say Christian Benford, I thought, also played a good game. He's been really solid. I don't know if you guys all saw, but he was the number 1 ranked cornerback by PFF going
2.
into last week's game. Oh, number 2. I'm sorry.
Pretty sure Sauce is number 1.
No, it was no, it was from Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it was like some random guy
anyway.
from Tampa Bay.
It definitely wasn't Sauce, but anyway, Christian Benford's really been playing well, but I don't think he really did much in that game. My player of the game is going to be Cole Bishop. So defensively, he's a rookie. He got thrown in there in the middle of a game where we were just getting blown out, and I didn't notice him much on the field, which means he didn't screw up. Basically, he had 2 tackles, 4 assisted. He held his own, and I thought he played well. I am very, very excited to see him moving forward. I think he may be the most athletic safety that we've had in the Josh Allen era. I think he is. So I'm really excited to see the kind of plays he can make once he gets into the groove of it. And I want Rapp to be okay. And I'm sorry he got hurt, but I'm glad Bishop is getting an opportunity to play. All right. Let's move past this horrible Ravens game.
Sorrow.
Yeah.
Sorrow.
Let's move past this.
And sorrow.
Anybody wants to add anything in the, you could just block them. It's clearly just a bot. But let's move on to okay. Let's move on to factor flag. So how do we play factor flag, Minnie?
Okay, so factor flag for anybody that is in the chat. It is a trivia game where Mafia Mom here has a statement. She will then ask me, do you think it is a fact or a flag? Fact, which means I think it is true. Flag, I will grab this yellow flag right here, and I will go like this with it if I think it is false. Anybody in the chat can play along, and if you get the correct answer, we will shout you out. Also, if you answer before I do, I might use your answer, I might not.
All right, so here we go. Ready? I got a surprise for you tonight, too. We have 4 factor flags.
Ooh, 4.
Normally, we only do 3. So, first one, James Cook. Now, everybody knows since Brady took over, running the ball more, right? James Cook has not had a 100-yard rushing game since the Dallas game, Week 15 last year. Factor flag.
He just won over 100 this year.
100 yards rushing, then you must think it's a flag.
That's flag. He went over 100 in like the first game. It's the game he had 3 touchdowns.
He did not go over 100. That is a fact.
Didn't
He has not had over 100 yards rushing since week 15 last year.
That's
So even though it feels like we're running the ball a lot more now, it's really not. We're running it more effectively. But James Cook is not putting up the gaudy numbers rushing is what you would think. He is, however, still contributing a lot in the passing game as well. But 100 yards has not been reached since week 15 last year. So interesting for that. All right, ready? So you're 0 for 1 right now. All right, next up. Houston has won the last 4 matchups against Buffalo that were played in Houston. That includes a playoff game.
The last 4 games that have been in Houston, they've won.
So Houston has won 4 in a row in Houston against the Bills.
Oh, in Houston against the Bills. They won the last matchup. Played them. Won the last.
What do you think? Fact or flag?
I think that's a fact.
You think that's a fact?
I can't really remember since the last 2019 game with Tyrod Taylor.
That is a fact. Very good. Good job. So you're 1 and 1. All right. Next up, we have, let's see. McDermott is 5-0 following his first loss of the season since 2019.
McDermott is 5-0 following first loss last season.
First loss of the season. So when the Bills lose their first game of the season, they have bounced back with a win every year since 2019.
That's a flag. That's 100% a flag.
So what do you think his record is? When did he lose back-to-back after the first game of the season? Or after the first loss of the season?
He lost back-to-back from the Giants and then the next game. No, he lost one game and then he lost the Giants game.
We didn't lose the Giants game.
Yeah, we did.
No.
It was 1916. They won.
Last year?
Yeah.
We beat the Giants.
We did?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Double check it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. Bills, Giants. But you are right though. It is a flag. Yeah, we won by 5 points. He's actually 4 and 1 though. So every year but one, when the Bills lose that first game, he gets some bounce back. He does a good job getting them back focused and making sure that the next game they come out and they play harder than they did in the last. So good to see there. Last one. You ready? Houston is the most penalized team in the league.
Houston, the most penalized team. Mm-hmm. How many penalties have they had in the last?
I don't know. I didn't look up the individual numbers, but Houston is the most penalized team in the league.
I think that's a fact.
You think it's a fact? Very good. It is a fact.
3 and 1.
Good job. And you were 5 and 4 last week, so you're now 8 and 5. All right, ready? We're going to move on to players to watch. You ready?
Yep.
All right. So you want to go first or second?
I will go second.
All right. My player to watch is not exactly a player for offense. It is Joe Brady. I think this is the first time since Brady took over as offensive coordinator that he's had some real adversity on the offensive side of the ball, and I want to see how he responds. I don't want him to come out and get pass happy or, have Josh throwing 50-yard bombs all day like Dorsey did. I don't want to see him come out and get real conservative either and act like we do not have one of
a 6'5", 230-pound, 99 arm strength and Madden quarterback.
I don't want him to get desperate, but I don't want him to get overly conservative. I want to see Brady come out and call a good game, just like he has in pretty much every game other than the Ravens game. It's the first time I've had an issue with the offensive play calling since he took over. So Brady is my player to watch. What about you? Offensive?
Sorry about that. My offensive player to watch is Coleman.
Coleman, okay, and why? What do you think he's going to do this week? Because Houston has a pretty good pass defense.
They have top 10 pass defense, but didn't the Jets have a top 10 pass defense last year?
Yeah, but we have not performed well against the Jets.
Diggs went off. It was the first year Sauce was in the league. He burned Sauce. He had like 60, 80 yards
like a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know where the Jets defense was ranked.
As soon as Sauce got in the league, they had like a top 10 defense.
I'm not sure that's true. But Well, what do you think Coleman's going to do this week? How do you think he's going to shine? What do you think he's going to bring to the table?
He's going to shine on second down and
It's very specific.
on,
I
on
meant more like, what's going to be different about Coleman this week to watch him as opposed to the last few weeks? What do you want to see out of him? That's what I'm asking.
I want to see a little more like, I know he jumps for the ball a lot and like is really physical, but I haven't seen him bat the ball down yet if he can't catch it. I don't think so, at least.
Well, yeah, and in the what game was it? Was it the Miami game? Maybe he who was the second team he played this year? Was it Miami?
Yeah.
Josh threw him a 50-50 ball, and he just made sure the defense couldn't catch it. But I guess what I'm asking you is that, like, do you want to see him get more targets? Do you want to see him going deep? Do you like what do you want to see
going
from
deep
him?
and getting more targets?
Okay, so you want to see him get more targets and go deep. Okay, fair enough.
At least get more like deeper routes.
Okay, so
Like instead of fades, have like streaks and posts.
Okay. All right. Good choice. What do you expect out of him this week, numbers wise?
I expect him to have over 50 yards, no, over 60 yards, and 7 receptions.
Okay. All right. Over 7 receptions. That would be a high for him so far this year.
And possibly a touchdown.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to defense. You want to go first or second?
I'll go second.
Okay. My defensive player to watch is the same as my defensive player of the game. It's Bishop. I want to see how he does out there with a week of practicing with the ones on defense. And I really like this kid's athleticism, and I want to see what he can bring to the table. I think he's got a really, really high ceiling. So I'm excited to see him out there after a week of preparation. So Bishop, 24 out there. I want to see him out there playing well. Who's your defensive player to watch?
There has been some talk that Bernard might be back.
Yes, he is practicing this week. Teron Johnson is too, for the record, but in a red jersey, so I don't expect him to play.
I'm picking the linebackers because Dorian Williams has played well.
Yes.
Balin Spector has played well.
Yeah.
And I don't think I even have to explain Bernard.
Yeah, it would be good to see him back out there. Let me ask you, if he does come back, do you think he'll be on a snap count, or do you think they'll just throw him in there?
I think he's gonna be on a little bit of a snap count, depending on like if he starts playing well. I think they're gonna take him off of a snap count, but I think he's gonna start off a snap count.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Like I think he's only gonna play like 2 downs per drive, starting at least.
Okay. All right. I would like to see Bernard out there as long as he's healthy and he's, good to go.
Also, I think he's gonna get one. I think he's gonna get possibly one fumble recovery.
Okay.
At least
Who are we talking about here?
Bernard.
Oh, okay. We don't even know for sure if he's playing though.
Well, if he is playing.
Okay.
At least one fumble recovery, 5 solo tackles, and 3 assisted tackles.
Okay. All right. Love to see it. I will say things are not looking great for Shakir. He has not practiced all week. And although they're not technically calling it a high ankle sprain, every Bills player since 2017 when McDermott took over who has had a high ankle sprain, which is what Shakir looked like he had, has missed a minimum of 1 game. Most have missed 2. So it is not looking real good for Shakir to play in this game. We'll see what happens. I really feel like we need him out there, but a week 5 game is not where you want to risk the rest of your season. So if he doesn't play, I trust the coaching staff to make the right decision there. Okay. On to Josh's stat line. So Houston does have a good pass defense. Their rush defense has struggled at times, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I do not see Josh having a massive game. I think he is going to continue to take care of the ball. I think he's going to have around 230 yards passing. I am thinking 2 passing TDs and 1 rushing TD. I really believe he's going to have no interceptions this week again, which would be, knock on wood, 5 straight games. But we'll see what happens. So 230, 2 TDs, 1 rushing TD. Although the rushing I'm very shaky on because I don't know how he's feeling. He's been on the injury report since week 1, I believe it was. So we'll see what happens. What's your Josh Allen stat line?
My Josh Allen stat line is 250 yards passing, 2 touchdowns in the air, 1 on the ground, unfortunately, 1 interception, and 44 rush yards.
Okay. All right. It'd be a good day. It's almost 300 yards, 3 TDs. I mean, we all know, like, look, I love Josh, but eventually he's going to throw an interception. Like, that's what quarterbacks do that. Like, they don't go the whole season. So it is what it is. I just hope it's not in the red zone or deep in our own zone or at a really important moment in the game. But even though they talk about Josh being such a turnover machine, if you go back and you actually watch his turnovers, most of them are not game breakers. They're just not. So it's overblown, the narrative is.
Imagine Josh doesn't have a turnover all season, like a pick all season.
That would be crazy, especially after all we heard for the last few years is how Josh is a turnover machine. Josh is a turnover machine. All right. On to hot take.
You first.
Me first. Okay. So this goes back to a couple things I've said already. So one, Cook has not had a 100-yard rushing game since week 15 of last year. Two, the Houston rush defense has struggled at times. So we just played the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, of course, teams can look very different from week to week, and the Texans and Jags facing each other as a divisional game, so that's always going to be a little bit different. But Jacksonville ran for 140 yards from their running backs on Houston Texans. 140 yards. They averaged 7 yards a rush on the Texans. That is insane. I like ATN. I think he's a good rusher. However, I think the Bills' offensive line is way better than the Jags' offensive line. So if they were opening up the kind of holes to get that kind of rushing yards, I expect the same from the Bills' offensive line. I expect James Cook to have over 120 yards rushing in this game. I expect him to have over 150 all-purpose yards in this game. That's my hot take.
I have 2 hot takes today.
Okay.
Each person to score a touchdown will come from a different player.
Each touchdown will come from a different player. Okay, got it.
And also,
hang on. Now, before you get into this one, so one of the elephants in the room that we have not discussed yet here is the Diggs revenge game. Most of the time when we play, players used to play here. Actually, most of the time when players leave here, I want them to do well. If Poyer wasn't on Miami, I would be rooting for him this year. Gabe Davis, not against us, but I want him to do well. I have nothing against Diggs personally, but because I think that they take so much away from Josh and his abilities because of Diggs, I want Josh to shine this year and Diggs to be the level of receiver that he always was at Minnesota before he came to Buffalo. I don't want him to be wildly successful. And I am hoping that we show Diggs that we are fine without him and that what he would have contributed to our team is not a backbreaker, basically. Now go ahead with your hot take on Diggs.
Diggs, for me, will have under 25 yards receiving.
Wow, 25 yards. That is low.
I know.
So who do you think is going to be on him? You think they're going to have somebody travel with him? Well, they wouldn't have anybody travel with him. They would have him travel with Nico Collins. He's their number one target right now.
I think they're going to put Benford on Collins and have Douglas on Diggs.
Most of the time, the Bills' defense doesn't move. Like, they don't move with their guy. They stay on their own side. So he could end up with both of them on him throughout the night. But I have a lot of faith right now in Russell Douglas and Benford. As long as the safety positions hold up, which there's going to be more on Hamlin's plate now because Rapp was the veteran out there. And now that he's not, Hamlin is going to have to step up and be a better leader. Yeah, he's in concussion protocol. No. So we'll see how the safeties hold up, but I have a really high level of confidence in our corners right now. It's possible that they may be the strongest duo in the league right now, the way they're playing right now. Not overall, not what they've accomplished, but right now they are playing at a very, very high level. So yeah, Nico Collins scares me a lot more than Diggs, but I don't want Diggs to be the one to beat us. I will be very upset if he goes off and he hasn't had a 100-yard game in a year. If he blows up, I'm going to be very pissed this game. So under 25 yards sounds beautiful to me. Yeah. All right.
And for our last segment of the night, score predictions.
Score predictions. You want to go first or second?
I will go second because I want to have the last one.
All right. Before I do my score prediction, I do want to apologize. The show is a little bit low energy and we're kind of rushing through things a little bit more. I am not feeling 100%. So I apologize for that. Hopefully, when we're back next week, I think we'll be back live. We can be back to normal. And yeah. So, all right, score predictions. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think it's going to be a nail biter. We haven't really, I mean, I guess you could call the Arizona one a nail biter, but I think the Bills eke out a victory 31-27.
I also think it's going to be a nail biter, but less of a. It's going to be an intense game, but I think there's going to be like less worry of them coming back and winning it.
Okay.
I have 27-21 Bills.
Okay. Now let me ask, do you think that that score gets like that, like it's 21-20 and the Bills score a go-ahead touchdown? Do you think it gets like that because it's, 27-14 and they score a garbage time touchdown? Do you think, like, what do you think the flow of the game is? Do you think it's a back and forth? Do you think we jump out? What do you think?
I think Texans get the ball first. They jump out to a 6-0 lead because they missed the extra,
You're getting real specific. Okay.
Point.
Well, then how are we getting to 21? They probably should make the extra point.
2-point conversion.
Okay.
Then, actually, no. They're going to make the extra point, so 7-0. We're going to score again. Then we're going to score 7-7. Then they're going to kick a field goal. No field goal for no field goal for them.
Okay.
Then we're going to get a pick from CJ Stroud trying to force it to Diggs. Because Diggs got mad at him on the sidelines.
I will say that I can't remember the guy's name, but he plays running back for the Texans, and which they have some injury issues too. No, it's not, but they have some. But he used to play for Jacksonville, and they clearly were making it a point to make sure that he got the ball when they played Jacksonville last week. So I'm glad you said that. I do expect them to try to get Diggs involved, especially early on, because they want to show, oh, this your old team. Let's let you get some payback, basically. So, yeah, I could see them trying to force something to Diggs. Although Stroud has been very, very careful with the ball. He has not thrown many picks for a young player. He's been very, very careful. So we'll see what happens.
I think he's gonna throw a forced pick. I think Douglas is gonna pick it off and return it.
Whoa. Okay.
So then it's 14-7.
Okay.
Then they're going to score 14-14. We're going to score 21-14.
Yeah.
Then
you were very specific about this.
Then it's halftime. Okay. We get the ball.
All right.
We drive down, but then we kick a field goal.
Okay. You're just all off for your score prediction now.
I don't know.
Well, okay, but for
it's 24-14.
But you have Josh having 3 touchdowns. Okay. I love it, kid. I love the different ideas. You're just covering all the bases, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in case.
No, you're doing good. All right. So then we kick a field goal, and then what?
In case.
So then it's what, 17-14?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what?
No.
No? What is it?
I said it was 21-14 at half.
Oh, I'm sorry, 21-14. And then we kick a field goal, so now it's 24-14.
Then at a half, we get the ball, we drive down the field, we kick a field goal, 24-14. Then they score again.
So 21-24.
Then at the last second, we get a game-winning field goal by back.
So you think it's going to be a back-and-forth game? Yeah. All right. And Mafia Sports Report has a prediction here. You want to read it?
Yeah. Mafia Sports Report said they're going to test our defense out by running the ball early on.
Okay, yes, he did say that, but what about a score prediction?
31-20.
31-20. I could definitely, that'd be awesome. And yeah, I could see them running the ball early. Look, after what we put on film last week, that if I'm an offensive coach, I'm running the ball early. But I really do think they're going to get Diggs involved. They have handed the ball off to him a few times, so we'll see what happens there. He actually scored his first career rushing touchdown last week, so we'll see what happens. Also, you probably didn't see it, but Mafia Sports Report thanked us for repping the Bills because of the idiot that was in the chat. Always, look, I've been around for the 2-14 seasons. Losing to the Ravens isn't going to scare me off.
Just so you know, am I allowed to say something real quick?
I don't know what it is. So, okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to add before we get going tonight?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Do you want to whisper it to me? This is great podcast material. It wasn't.
No,
No, we'll talk later.
man.
Okay. So
Sounded like
one moment here. Okay, so we thank you guys for coming and watching tonight again. I do apologize. Definitely not feeling 100%. Next week we will be back with more energy and ready to go.
Definitely.
Anything else you said no, you didn't want to add anything else?
Nope.
Okay. So then until next week, from our family to yours, go Bills.
Go Bills.